In problem number 1, we have to find little a, which is the side opposite angle A. And first we look to use SOHCAHTOA. And in order to use SOHCAHTOA, we need to be given a 90-degree angle. And here we don't. We're given angle A, which is 123 degrees and 10 minutes. So there's no right angle. So we're not using SOHCAHTOA. Next, we look to use the law of sines. And in order to use the law of sines, you need to be given a matching pair of side and angles. And if you look at what's given to you, you're given angle A, you're given side C, and you're given side B. So you're not given a matching pair. A matching pair would be angle A and side A, angle B and side B, angle C and side C. So we're not given a matching pair, which means we're not using the law of sines. So next we look to use the law of cosines. And the first case for when you use the law of sines is you need to be given two sides and the angle between. And that's what we're given here. We're given two sides, the 21.6 and the 35, and we're given the angle in between, which is angle A. So here we're going to use the law of cosines, and when you're given two sides and the angle in between, the law of cosines takes on this form. A squared, because we're finding A, that equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times the cosine of A. So when you're given two sides and the angle in between, the law of cosines looks like this. There's another case for when you use the law of cosines. That's when you're given all three sides. And that law of cosines looks a little bit differently. So we'll get to that if that applies. So here we're going to have a squared equals b squared, so that's 21.6 squared, plus c squared, that's 30.5 squared, minus 2 times b times c, 2 times 21.6 times 30.5, times the cosine of angle A, and here angle A is 123 degrees and 10 minutes. So what you're going to do is you're going to type in this entire right-hand side of the equation. You're going to type that into your calculator exactly as you see it. Don't simplify it at all. Just type in 21.6 squared plus 30.5 squared. You see the rest. Take a minute, type that into your calculator. So if you type this into your calculator correctly, you should have a squared equals that 2,117 point, and you see the rest. But remember, this is what a squared is equal to. What you're now going to have to do, since this is a squared and you need to find side A, is you're going to take the square root of that number. So what you're going to do is you're going to type in on your calculator the square root, which is second to the next squared, and then above the negative is the second, and negative is the previous answer. So what I want to do is I want to tell my calculator to take the square root of this previous answer, or you can just simply do the square root and then move the cursor up to this 2,117 number, press enter, and it'll copy and paste it underneath the radical. So here when we take the square root, your answer to the nearest tenth is going to be 46.0. Make sure you're including these calculator pictures on your assignment. So your calculator picture should be these two steps right here. Problem number 4, we're going to again go through our steps. We first look to use SOHCAHTOA to see if there's a 90-degree angle, and there's not. There's only angle A, which is 17 degrees, so we're not using SOHCAHTOA. You look to use the law of sines if you have a matching pair of side angles. And here, they're giving you angle A, which was 17. It looks like little c, side C, is 14, and little b, side opposite angle B, is 9. So here we're not given any matching pair, so we're not going to be using law of sines. So no SOHCAHTOA, no law of sines. The first case of the law of cosines is if you're given two sides and the angle in between. And here you are given side B, you're given side C, and the angle in between is angle A. So here, since we're given two sides and the angle in between, we're going to use the law of cosines. We're finding side A, so it's going to look the exact same as the previous problem. A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC times the cosine of A. Make sure when you're using the law of cosines that your outers match. Here, since you're finding side A, you're going to take the cosine of angle A. So the A's should be on the outside, and then B and C just fill in the center. So now we're going to substitute in. We have A squared equals B squared, so that's 9 squared, plus C squared, so that's 14 squared, minus 2 times 9 times 14, times the cosine of angle A, which was the cosine of 17 degrees. So you plug into the law of cosines, and now you type in the right-hand side exactly as you see it. So take a moment, type in that right-hand side into your calculator, and then that's going to be what A squared is equal to. Then you're going to take the square root of that expression to get what letter A is. So take a minute, type that into your calculator, and take the square root. And here your answer to the nearest tenth is 6.0, 6.0. Again, make sure that your calculator picture is included on this assignment. So your calculator picture has to be included in this assignment. Looks like for problems 6 and 7, we have to draw our own diagram. So for problem 6, we have triangle ABC. And it doesn't really matter where the letters go. It matters how you label your picture. So here's triangle ABC. It says big C, so that's angle C. That goes on the inside, 95 degrees, 15 minutes. Side A, so that's the side opposite angle A, that's going to be 22.6. And side B, so that's the side opposite angle B, that's going to be 20. And we have to find little c, so that's the side opposite angle C. And we're not going to be using SOHCAHTOA because there's no 90-degree angle given. For the law of sines, we look for a matching pair. And here, looks like what we're given is big C, little a, and little b. So there's no matching pair. Remember, matching pair is side and angle A, side and angle B, or side and angle C. So there's no matching pair, so it looks like here we're going to be using the law of cosines. And here we're finding side C, so I'm going to write this as C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB times the cosine of C. Make sure the outers match. So since you're finding side C, you're going to be taking the cosine of angle C, and the A's and the B's fill in the center. So here we're going to have c squared equals a squared, so that's 22.6 squared, plus b squared, so that's 20 squared, minus 2 times 22.6 times 20 times the cosine of angle C, so that's going to be the cosine of 95 degrees and 15 minutes. The nice thing about the law of cosines is that after you plug in your numbers, you do the entire problem right on your calculator. So take a minute right now and type in this entire right-hand side directly into your calculator. And then remember, this is going to give you c squared, so then you're going to have to take the square root of what you get when you enter that expression in. Take a minute, enter that into your calculator, and then take the square root of it and attach it onto this assignment. So here it looks like your answer is going to be, to the nearest tenth, 31.5. 31.5. So you always find sides to the nearest tenth. Finally, make sure again your photo is attached to this assignment. Finally, we're going to look at problem number 7. And in problem number 7, it gives you triangle FGH. So I'll label my triangle. Doesn't matter where the letters go, it matters how you label it. So capital F is 36 degrees and 45 minutes. Remember, angles go on the inside of the triangle. Angle G is 56 degrees and 5 minutes. And then little f is 17.9. And here we have to go about finding little h. So that's going to be the side opposite angle h. So it looks like that's going to be on the bottom. So we're trying to find little h. And as we go through our steps, we first look to use SOHCAHTOA. We look to see if there's a 90-degree angle. And it doesn't appear that there is one. The two angles they are giving us are 56 degrees 5 minutes and 36 degrees 45 minutes. But what you should always do is this. In trigonometry, anytime they give you two of the angles, like here we're given angle F, and here we're given angle G, anytime they're given two of the angles, you know the sum of the angles of a triangle is always is always 180. The sum of the angles of a triangle is always 180 degrees. So let's figure out what angle H is by adding up the two angles that we were given and then subtracting that from 180 degrees. So here it looks like when you add up 36 degrees and 45 minutes and 56 degrees and 5 minutes, you add them up and you get this 92.83 number. You do 180 minus that 92.8 number. And then since it's an angle, we go and we DMS. So it looks like here, 87 degrees and 10 minutes. So here we're not going to be using SOHCAHTOA because there's no 90-degree angle. But we just made sure and checked to make sure that H wasn't 90 degrees. So I'm trying to find side H. And I can't use SOHCAHTOA because there's no 90-degree angle. So next I look to use the law of sines. And in order to use the law of sines, you need to have a matching set of side and angles given to you. And here it looks like that's what we have. Here we're given capital F, we're given angle F, and we're given side Fs. So the matching set given are the Fs. So that means for this one, we're going to be using the law of sines because we're given a matching set. And we have to find H, so we're going to write little h over the sine of angle H. And that equals now our matching set. little f over the sine of angle f. And when I plug in, I'm trying to solve for little h. I'm going to put that over the sine of angle h. And it actually turned out that it was good that we found angle h just because we were given two angles and we wanted to know what the third angle was. So here we know angle h is 87 degrees and 10 minutes. So we have little h over the sine of 87 degrees, 10 minutes. And then that equals little f, which was 17.9, divided by the sine of angle f. So here the sine of 36 degrees and 45 minutes. And when we did the law of cosines, all you do is just type into the calculator and then you're done. For the law of sines, you have to first cross multiply. So here I have h times the sine of 36 degrees, 45 minutes. And that equals 17.9 times the sine of 87 degrees and 10 minutes. And then the way I solve for h is I divide both sides by the sine of 36 degrees and 45 minutes. So on my calculator, I'm going to find h by doing 17.9 times the sine of 87 degrees and 10 minutes divided by the sine of 36 degrees, 45 minutes. We're finding a side, so we're not pressing the second button. We're not doing DMS. We're just typing in exactly what we see on this right-hand side, and then for a side, we round to the nearest tenth. So take a minute, enter in that fraction onto your calculator, take a picture of it, and include that in your assignment when you submit it. Make sure you're careful with the degrees and minutes, and you use the fraction template, alpha y equals. And when you round to the nearest tenth, here it looks like that side h is going to be 29.9. 29.9. So make sure you attach your calculator photo onto this assignment and then submit this assignment when you are done.